Hi everybody. My subject is site suitable standards for beekeeping via analytical hierarchy process for Konya. What is the aim of this study? The main aim of this study is determining most suitable locations for beekeeping activities by considering bee requirements and bee environment. The importance of bee. In many developing countries, beekeeping activities have an importance on rural economic development. Throughout the derived products, as you can see, pollen, royal jelly, propolis, and bee wax. In addition to this, honeybees are the key pollinators of too many crop species. So there is a high amount of invisible economic income in the rural development. In Turkey, our country has considerable potential in beekeeping with its rich flora, proper ecological conditions, and existing colony. Let's look at the multi-criteria decision analysis. This is considered as a complex decision-making tool involving both quantitative and qualitative factors. And first we are setting a goal and then defining some criteria to reach this goal. And finally, we are setting some alternatives in each criteria. Analytic hierarchy process is the most applied multi-criteria decision analysis technique here, and gives some weights to each criteria. And especially analytic hierarchy process is using in the complex decision making. In this study, we calculate some weights for each criteria which are used for the beekeeping activities, and these weights and importance are calculated by speaking with the experts. Beekeeping has some requirements in the field of topographic, economic, and environmental, and each criteria has some restrictions, requirements, and expectations. These are all used for the define each criteria. We specify some criteria to reach the suitability map. These are aspect, elevation, slope, flora, water surfaces, roads, precipitation, and settlements. And aspect, slope, elevation map is considered in topographic, flora, water resources, and precipitation considered in environmental, and distance to roads and distance to waters are included in economic criteria. These criteria data are retrieved from some institutes and internet data sources like Astralgiden maps. Here is the table that we calculate the weights and the importance of each criteria. We are using a value from 1 to 9 to define the importance of each criteria. For example, in aspects, the south is the most important way for the honeybees. And here is important, these intervals can change according to the study area. We will show the criteria maps. And in these maps, the green are most suitable and the red one are unsuitable places for the beekeepers. This is our elevation map, flora map, distance to settlements, because honeybees must be apart from the settlements. Distance to roads, especially roads are important in beekeeping activities because exhaust emissions and noise of the vehicles are affecting honeybees negatively. Water surface distance, slope map, precipitation map, we are used in this study. Application. First, we need bee expert decisions to set each interval and their values. Then geographical information systems platform is used to define optimum intervals, classification, some spatial analysis, and generate criteria maps, and then analytic hierarchy process, and I will explain now detailing. In analytic hierarchy process, we are using a we are using a matrix to compare each criteria with another. As you can see here, we generated a matrix. Each criteria, you can see it has a comparison here. And then to be able to calculate the weights, we are using a normalized matrix. And then finally, the weights are here for each criteria. And this is a flexible structure. We can change each weight according to the expertizations. But we have to decide that our calculation is consistent or not. For this, some formulas are using to calculate this consistency. And finally, here is the consistency ratio. If consistency ratio is higher than this value, we are saying that we have to consider each value again. But if it is smaller, then the weights are consistent and we can generate suitability map for beekeepers. Let's look at the application. Each criteria map multiplied according to the weights, and then total suitability map is generated here. The green areas are the most suitable and the red areas are unsuitable for the beekeeping activities. As you can see here, water surfaces, especially flora, is the more important criteria for us. And we have to look at the consistency of the existing beekeepers and our suitability map. We retrieved coordinates of each existing beekeeper locations, and then we intersect with our suitability map. I want to give some examples for Beyşehir and Seydişehir district. 42 beekeeper locations recorded, and we have a 60% of analytic hierarchy process suitability rate. And we see that 36 beekeeper locations intersected with the high suitability places. In Bozkır district, again 42 beekeeper locations recorded, and we have 70% of analytic hierarchy process suitability rate in this district. And here has large natural plant areas. In Karatay district, 77 beekeeper locations recorded, but we have very low analytic hierarchy process suitability rate, because here has a high agricultural activities, so pesticide using in each crop affecting beekeepers negatively. Thus, we are weighting agricultural lands very low. Because of this, Karatay district is very low suitability rate. And in Altınekin, same with Karatay, here has a large agricultural lands and high density of pesticide usage, and 7% of analytic hierarchy process suitability rate Altınekin has. Hardin Taşkent, here has a large natural plant areas and mountainous place. 58 beekeeper locations recorded, and we have 65 analytic hierarchy process suitability rate. And we made some calculations about the correlations between statistics of beekeeping and our analytic hierarchy process suitability rate. We look to AHP to total beekeeper, AHP to total waxes, and AHP to total honey production correlations. And this is the thematic maps of the statistics of Konya. And these are the correlation results. And we can say that we have a good correlation between the statistics and our calculation. Let's get to conclusions. The main objective of this study is specifying the criteria included in suitability. Additional criteria could be included, like meteorological conditions, wind direction, which are affecting beekeepers and honey production. However, agricultural lands are quite important pesticide uses has negative effect on beekeeping, but this pesticide using data is quite difficult to collect and monitor. Thus, we are accepting the agricultural lens as unsuitable. And the weight calculation is quite flexible in analytic hierarchy process. So according to the expert decisions, we can modify these weights and look at the results. And finally here, because flowering and foraging area are time-dependent criteria, it is difficult to map and locate these data, especially foraging area is time-dependent data, and monitoring and mapping this is quite difficult. Instead of this, maybe monthly or seasonal beekeeping activities mapping can be used and included as a criteria in this calculation. It must be pointed out that beekeeping experts, these are beekeepers, technical staff, academic institutes, organizations have the largest contribution in this study because defining criteria and weighting them needs to expert decisions in this study. And as I mentioned before, criteria classifications can change according to the study area and according to the beekeeping requirements in that study region. And in future project, we are considering a web-based geographical information system, and we are considering a beekeeping geoportal. We will serve and generate suitability maps, criteria maps for the beekeepers and their related features.